Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Executive Director of the Asia Office of the International Institute for Strategic Studies and as convener of the 4th IISS Fullerton Forum Shangri-La Dialogue Sherpa meeting, I'm delighted to welcome you to the keynote address for this important element of the Asian regional security architecture. In early June, we will convene the 15th annual IISS Shangri-La Dialogue. Since we first convened the Fullerton Forum in 2013, this forum has become an important element in the Shangri-La Dialogue process. This is a track one meeting for senior defense officials and high-ranking military officers with additional delegates from directing and senior staff of the IISS and from leading non-government defense and security experts in the region. As I remarked at the opening dinner for the forum last night, the Fullerton Forum Shangri-La Dialogue Sherpa meeting was established with three aims in mind. First, it strengthens the Shangri-La Dialogue by convening senior defense officials with high-level responsibilities for policy making and international defense collaboration. Secondly, the forum provides an opportunity for substantive discussions involving non-government experts as well as senior officials on key regional security issues that need to be addressed in a multilateral context by the states engaged in the Shangri-La Dialogue. And third, the Fullerton Forum provides my IISS colleagues and I, as conveners of the Shangri-La Dialogue, with an even more acute understanding of the evolving defense and security concerns that need to be addressed at the Shangri-La Dialogue. We think that since the first Fullerton Forum was convened in 2013, it has made good progress towards these objectives, and we anticipate that the next 2 days' discussions and contacts will advance them further. This is essentially a closed-door, confidential meeting, but this keynote address is on the record and will be reported by the media. We are delighted that Pak Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Indonesia's coordinating minister for political, security and legal affairs, has agreed to deliver the keynote address for this year's IISS Fullerton Forum. We're also grateful to our good friend, Singapore's Minister for Defence, Dr. Ong Eng Hen, for being here this morning and for agreeing to introduce Pak Luhut. And I'd now like to ask the Defence Minister to formally introduce the coordinating minister. Thank you very much.
Dr. Tim Huxley, distinguished guests. First of all, let me wish all of you here a very happy New Year and a pleasant stay in Singapore. We are indeed privileged to have with us Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, General Luhut Panjaitan, to deliver the keynote address for this morning. First of all, let me, on all our behalf, express our deepest condolences to our Indonesian friends over the heinous attacks in Jakarta. We grieve with the families and loved ones of the victims and stand together with the people of Indonesia in this global fight against extremists. Pak Luhut is a very close friend of Singapore, and I'm extremely pleased that he's able to grace this event and honored to have the opportunity to introduce him. Sometime last year, IISS suggested that I speak again at the Fullerton Forum. I thought it would be good to invite key defense leaders in this region for this Fullerton Forum. And I could think of no one better to kickstart that trend, if you like, than Pak Luhut, who I felt would provide important and valuable insights to the security challenges in our region. The IISS concurred, and I did them a courtesy of personally inviting Pak Luhut, who graciously accepted. This, of course, was all before the Jakarta bomb blast. And I think with that, there's a certain urgency and importance which we attach to Pak Luhut's keynote address. Indonesia is the largest country of ASEAN with an economy of US $870 billion. and a population of 250 million, the largest Muslim country globally. Indonesia can and does play a crucial leading role in regional and international affairs. And as the global threat of jihad extremists rises, this role that Indonesia plays becomes even more influential. Pak Luhut is more than qualified to give important insights to security challenges for this region. He served over 30 years in the Army Special Forces and was also the first commander of the Kopassus, the Special Forces, Counterterrorism 81 Detachment. Prior to this present appointment, he was the Presidential Chief of Staff, the Minister of Trade and Security, and a former ambassador to Singapore. As President Jokowi's lead advisor on defense and security affairs, Pak Luhut is well placed to provide Indonesia's perspective on regional developments, and all of us look forward to hearing his thoughts. Please join me in welcoming Pak Luhut.
Good morning. It's a great honor for me to be here this morning, especially with my very good friend, Pak Ang, the Minister of Defense, and all of you. I would like to give you some input about what happened in Indonesia and what happened, in the near future. And I think this is a global issue, global problem, that we have to enhance our cooperation. I don't think any single country in the world can fix this problem, and we have to work together closely. Our cooperation with Singapore especially is very good. We can exchange information sometime over phone, unclassified information, but this is, I think, very important because we need to speed up all those things before we make something. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we give you some summary of my presentation. The ISIS keep prominent person and its strategy, I think, is that there are 3 persons that is very important right now. Is Abu Musab al-Zarqawi and Abu Muhammad al-Maqdisi, and the one that I think very important, the ISIS issue, is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. If I may propose or give you some key strategy of the ISIS, the 3 stages of jihadist movement: disruption and exhaustion, terrorist attack, or devoted to destabilize and demoralize the population. That's, I think, very important for them, how to demoralize the environment and also to demoralize or destabilize and demoralize the population, which is, I think, so far it doesn't work in Indonesia because the government in Indonesia policy is very clear that we don't have any negotiation with any terrorist attack in our country. We're going to retaliate immediately anything happen in the territory of Indonesia. Because this is a thing you have to understand, that for us, we want to bring stability to the people of Indonesia. If you try to create this kind of instability or demoralize the population, then we immediately conduct our operation. The number of foreign fighters joining ISIS, if you look at also the slide, is double, 2014-2015, which is, I think, it's a very, very scary if you don't take care of this situation. If you look at Western Europe, former Soviet Republic, North America, Middle East, etc., look at the number increasing time to time. And if you look at also situation in Europe, I think nearly 1 million immigrants came to Europe. We don't know how many of them influenced by the thinking of ISIS. Assume 0.5%, this number already like 5,000 people. So if you look at also the Paris incident, it's maybe around some of them already penetrate or sent by the join the immigrant. As a result of the effective media strategy, this is also another thing that we have to consider. We learned this very much. Our institution also learned that if you look at number from the Brookings Institute, make some research, and we follow this research, 46,000 Twitter accounts supporting ISIS, which is unbelievable. Now middle class, some of the middle class already joined this ISIS. And even Indonesia also, we understand some of the Indonesian from the middle class joined the ISIS. We experienced one of the police from from Padang. They joined ISIS. He went to Raqqa, and luckily he got killed over there. And also, ISIS is using decentralization social media to execute their campaign. This is, I think, very important. Although right now coordination among the ministry, inter-ministry Indonesia is very tight on this. So any new social media, we just stop. ISIS differentiates their campaign material according to their specific target. This is, I think, also very important because they move to some of the boarding school, Islamic boarding school. They try also to penetrate and also to influence the people over there. And there are three key components. ISIS offered the Islamic Caliphate, which is, I think, very dangerous because some people, if you look at now the size of Indonesia, 230 million Muslim population in Indonesia, but some of them still in a very low background of education. So this kind of theme is very important for them. The ISIS offered the Islamic Caliphate, where all people will live under Sharia. While in Indonesia right now, you're allowed to do so by law, but they try to twist. ISIS offers an alternative way of life through jihad to build the Islamic Caliphate. This kind of slogan, this kind of campaign is very, very effective toward the low class, if I may say low class. The war in Syria and Iraq, led by ISIS, is part of the Armageddon prophecy, as stipulated in the Hadith. They understand that this is the beginning of the end of the world. So let's work together. Let's fight together against the Western, against the, any country without Sharia. If you look at also ISIS global terror has spanned 17 countries, which is, I think, very dangerous time to time. We understand some of information that we get from the ex-terrorists, communication from Bahrun Naim in Raqqa in Syria with his support in Indonesia. They want to see Caliphate in this region, like Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, some other countries in this region. So please don't underestimate on this program because they want to do this. And for them, always, we understand right now, always one-way ticket. I remember when I was in Special Forces, we always escape and evasion. For them, that's number 3, number 5, number 6. For them, and they go to the target, they have to make something happen over there, one-way ticket. Because they believe when they get killed over there, they can go to the heaven and the angel will see or maybe marry them. That's, I think, very important, and they believe in that. So you deal sometime with irrational people. If you look at also number of attacks this January, only January this year, already 7 attacks. So if you compare to last year, January, much less than this. And we believe time to time they're going to increase this activities. Now, if you look at also the Tamrin attack, I mean, in Jakarta last 10 days ago, it was 4 people get killed, I mean, from their side. Muhammad Ali, shot dead by the police, and Hafiz Sunakim shot dead by the police, and Dian Juni, suicide bomber, Muhazan, suicide bomber. They brought 12 bombs, but they are successful to explode only 6, exploded 6 bombs. We are lucky that 6 bombs, they are not successful to explode. But this is also prove it that for them, one-way ticket. So this is, I think, the problem facing by our security agency. So that's why we have the SOP that we don't spend some time to deal with them. We just, if we are faced, just attack, just fire, kill them. That's the way we do it. So we kill 4 of them, but we get the telephone from the cellular that we track the information, then we move very quick and we arrested like 12 of them. But we are still moving toward other things today. Then we understand where they get the order. They get order from Raqqa, and Raqqa also may be influenced. We are not proving yet from the highest ranking of the Al-Qaeda, ISIS Indonesia. So we'll see the networking is working very well. So we're facing with this kind of organization. Now the Tamrin terrorist attack, if I may remind you a little bit, I think once I get the information, I talk to the chief police and see what happened, and we have already the procedures, SOP, that we are not going to negotiate with any attack. Then we deploy our police forces and also the special forces near the place. And we eliminated the terrorists, I think, less than 12 minutes. Because we don't know also, although it's a very chaotic situation over there, but I think with the very decisive action, we took the 4 terrorists down. And with this kind of example, they understand we're not going to negotiate. Never. So yes, very painful. Maybe we get lost our people, but it's better than wait to them to consolidate and then we attack. What we learned from attack, the attackers are previously linked with the Jamaah Islamiyah. This is, I think, very important, which is one of the Al-Qaeda affiliates in Southeast Asia. However, they carry out the attack under ISIS directives. Thus, although ISIS and Al-Qaeda are fighting each other in Syria, their affiliates can cooperate to carry out an attack. So in Indonesia right now, we believe Aman Abdurrahman, the leader of ISIS, and Abu Bakar Basir, the leader of the Al-Qaeda, they already merged. They work together, although some of the elements still some differences. Number 2, the terrorists operate under compartmentalized cells, which is a member of one cell does not know the member of the other cell. This enables secrecy of information and creates difficulty for the police to crack down the organization. This kind of method, I believe, is an intelligent cell. They learn. So one cell to another cell, they don't have contact. But so far, we are successful to mapping this cell. We are, moving very quick together with our police and intelligence agency and military to crack down these activities. But again, I cannot assure you that Indonesia is immune from this kind of attack. But I can assure you that we have a very decisive strategy to face this kind of threat if something happens in Indonesia. Terrorists use a secret chat. I think the Telegram, right now, they also send a courier. That's why it's very difficult to pinpoint when and where and how they carry on their operation, because the final decision, they go with the courier. So we have to intercept the courier, which is not easy to do so. Or we have to penetrate our people to that organization, which is also not easy, but we have to do that. If we look at also, we need a systematic action plan to fight ISIS. Lone wolf, for instance, that anything can happen from the small group to attack anywhere, not only Indonesia, but somewhere else. We share also some information with Singapore, and Singapore also share with us, and same as Malaysia and Australia. Again, I believe today that without good cooperation between neighbors, even with the other countries, I don't think we can fight this kind of threat. Through a combination of soft and hard approach, as well as intelligent cooperation. This is, I think, very important. Soft approach strategy, that's always we campaign in Indonesia. We are using the religion and culture to solve this problem. But it doesn't mean that we don't prepare the hard approach, the military action. We prepare that one, but this one, we make it a very, like a second alternative. But our biggest alternative, our first alternative, basically use the religion, the radicalization programs through the, what do you call it, culture. Because culture, I think, is very important in Indonesia. How do we approach the people? Intelligent cooperation, as I mentioned earlier, also is very important. As many radical organizations have cross-border country operation, we need to have effective intelligent cooperation. So far, I think intelligent cooperation in this region quite good, and we believe, I think the other countries like China, US, and the ASEAN, I don't see much problem because we established already a platform on this. This operation will enable us to exchange information related to threats, terrorist attack, and their financing. Financing also another issue. We are tracing right now very much how do they get finance. And last week, we understand they got some support from Raqqa, like 100,000 US dollars to support their activities in Indonesia. So we trace this one. Also, we work very closely with Australia, and we understand also we get like they get also like 700,000 US dollar from Australia. So we don't know yet from where, but right now our agency is working very hard, time to time, to monitor this financing support. Because without financing, I don't think they can move more aggressive than what happened today. Hard approach, as I mentioned again, we prepare our special forces to conduct anytime, anywhere within the country to prevent or to minimize or to attack the terrorists. So we don't want to see any hostage stay too long. If they take hostage, immediately we're going to free the hostages. Soft approach strategy, we have four, you have the slides over there. Counter radicalization and de-radicalization campaign. This is, I think, very important. We work together with the ulama. We are lucky we have Nahdlatul Ulama and you, the largest Muslim organization, and Muhammadiyah. So we work with them. So that, I think, that can bring the campaign, what's the meaning of the ISIS. ISIS is not Islam, Islam is not ISIS. This is, the theme is very important. The people on the ground understand ISIS is not belong to the Islam, or Islam is not belong to the ISIS. So this kind of approach is very important. Data information analysis of the terrorist campaign, materialize, and strategy. And also campaign against religious intolerance. This is another issue. Indonesia, I think you are very aware, the size of Indonesia is huge. The largest archipelago country. It's not easy to manage. It's not the continent. So one island to the other island, they have some differences. So we have to manage, we have to deal with this kind of problem. I think you are aware, last week, even till today, we have to evacuate around 10,000 Gavatar, this kind of another organization, from Kalimantan to Java, back to Java. This is another operation. And we have also Ahmadiyya, we have also some other things over there. But so far, I think the government has a very firm policy. And we can assure you, as long as they do it peacefully, we accommodate this one. But once they try to break the rule of engagement, we fight them back. They understand it very well right now. And the last one is the improvement of the regulation. Yes, we're going to improve the counterterrorism regulation, focus on preemptive measures. So what we call it preemptive strike. So if we understand some of the terrorist attack, the terrorist organization doing something here, we can arrest them for 7 to 30 days to get some information. If nothing to do with the terrorist attack or terrorist activities, we can release them. So this, I think, very important to give more power to the police to tackle or to deal with terrorist activities. Now, holistic approach to the radicalization program is very important. There are, 7 steps that taken by the government. They have to work together, the religious, psychological, family, creative, vocational, recreational sport, because we experienced also the last 10 years, very little effort on this program. While this program is very important because we believe 40 to 50% after they release from the jail, they back again to their habitat, which is, I think, very bad. So now we learn from this. And now we also want to separate, isolate the leader of the, what we call ideology of the ISIS, like Abu Bakr Bashir and Aman Rahman. We hope by doing so then can reduce more the power or strength or the activities of the terrorists within the country. However, we need to classify convicted terrorists into the different categories. This is, I think, very important. We should categorize ideologies, militants, supporters, or sympathizers. So we are successful to do so far, and we'll see the result anytime, maybe after 6 months or a year. And this is one of the programs that very, very important. I'd like also to share this information with our neighbor, especially in Southeast Asia. Our conclusion, we need a systematic action plan against ISIS and other terrorist organizations as their attack and campaigns are also systematic and highly effective. Highly effective meaning that we understand, again, like I mentioned earlier, one-way ticket. So we deal with the organization, what we call it one-way ticket. This is very hard. So they prepare with suicide. I explained before, they prepare 12 bombs. And out of 4 of the terrorists in Tamrin incident, 2 of them suicide. And 2 of them killed by the police. So this is always going to be like this, the trend of the terrorists. So again, we deal with one-way ticket. A sole reliance on a hard approach action to fight against ISIS is hardly effective. We need a soft approach and intelligent cooperation, as they also have cross-border operation and an effective media strategy. Also, the media, social media is very important, so we have to work together to, to try to minimize their presence in the social media, especially with the radical program like how to make a bomb, how to do this and do that. This is very, very dangerous. And we understand Indonesia right now, they have a kind of one of the media that promote how to make a bomb. Even the bomb in Tamrin, they learn from the internet. Internet provided by the organization. So we have to take down this media. The soft approach program should be focused on counter radicalization in public media and the radicalization for the convicted terrorists inside and outside prisons. Outside prison is very important. Inside the prison also very important. So right now we have a still problem with the terrorists inside the prisons. But in the near future, hopefully we can minimize this one because we're going to localize. So the ideologue, we put it in one jail, isolation, very tight isolation on that. But the sympathizer, we just join them to the other people. Intelligent cooperation between countries is becoming more important in the form of information exchanges as well as counter-terrorism financing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me go a little bit about an update on the Indonesian economy. Why I put this important? Because if you are not successful to fix our economy, this is easy for them to harboring terrorists in Indonesia. So I can give you one short briefing about our economy, which is give us some more hope. Then we can reduce. I'm not trying to say to eliminate, but to reduce terrorist activities within the country. If you look at the slide, I think turnaround in domestic consumption occurred in 2015. Our economy quite okay. And the overall economy has stopped slowing. The slide number 19. I think our economy grow this year, we hope around 5.5%, which is I think good, but that one not very important. The very important one, not only growing, the economic growth, but we are talking also about equality. Equality is the key word for this one. Because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of them come from the poor family background. If you look at also slide number 20, we are lucky rebound in consumer confidence right now is moving very well. This is I think the higher than average level of the last 10 years. So our economy is moving quite good. So one problem most likely minimize could happen in the near future. Rebound in confidence to the government also very good. Last December, if you look at, I think it was 7% improving. So this is good for Indonesia. And region will receive better benefits than before. This is, I think, very important. If you look at also on slide 22, the Indonesian government has been trying to aggressively to distribute growth more evenly across provinces and districts. Before, the gap between the have and the have-not in Indonesia is very much. Now the government tried to reduce this one because this is very important again. This commitment is shown in the increasing funds transferred to the regions. In 2016, around 770 trillion or 70 billion US dollars will be transferred to the regions, around 36% of the overall national budget. The amount of money allocated for the village, this one is very important, ladies and gentlemen. Village program is also increased from around $2 billion to $4.5 billion 2016. Meaning every village get 100,000 US dollars for them to use in the village. So we minimize poverty in rural area because some of the source of the terrorists come from the rural area. Without economy improving the performance of our economy, we'll see more and more terrorists in the near future, which is, I think, very dangerous for Indonesia. I mentioned 230 million Muslim population in Indonesia. If like 2% of them live in a very poor situation and then brainwashed by the ISIS, you can imagine how many of them going to be terrorists. And they're going not only attack Indonesia, they can go around this country, this region. So for us, I think this program is very important. Of course, in the same time, this policy will would push economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, economic stability is very significant to political and security stability. Without good economic situation, it's very difficult to maintain political stability and secure environmental and vice versa. We believe that current implementation of our economic program is on the right track. We have seen rebounds in the cement consumption, and etc., etc. And President Jokowi is committed to his economic reform, mainly focused on infrastructure development, as well as poverty alleviation to improve income distribution. This again is very, very important. We cannot just fix the security, establish good intelligence cooperation without the distribution of wealth. We believe that the successful implementation of this program will improve our country and maintain security and political stability. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you, as the conclusion of my presentation, Indonesia on the right track to tackle the terrorist issue. And number two, we have a very decisive action against any terrorist attack within the country. And number three, we are very confident that we are successful so far mapping the terrorist activities or radical activities within the country. And number four, we believe cooperation, intelligent cooperation with our neighbor in this area, Southeast Asia, could minimize the terrorist attack in this region. Thank you very much.
Pak Luhut, thank you very much for delivering the keynote address for this fourth IISS Fullerton Forum. In your excellent address, you made a number of important points. You focused particularly on some of the really key security challenges for your government from this major problem of terrorism, which others in the region and elsewhere in the world also face. You emphasized the threat from the so-called Islamic State, and you particularly talked about the importance in an effective counter-terrorist strategy of international intelligence exchange. And you also talked about what you referred to as the soft part of the counter-terrorist strategy in terms of counter-radicalization, de-radicalization. But at the same time, you gave some very interesting, fascinating insights into the operational side of counterterrorism, including the role of the TNI in support of the police in tactical situations, and the no-nonsense approach that Indonesia's security forces take. And then you provided an update on Indonesia's economic progress, and you made the very important point that economic stability underlies security stability, and that the two are very closely linked. You've kindly agreed to take a few questions.
Yes, please.
From our audience. The audience includes some representatives of the press and broadcast media, as well as delegates to the Fullerton Forum. So I think we can take a few questions from the audience,
please.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
If you'd like to indicate if you'd like to ask a question, I'll recognize you, and then the microphone will come to you if you don't have one in front of you. And if you could say who you are and what your affiliation is, please. So who would like to ask the first question? So at the back there. Yes.
I'm Renato de Castro. I'm an academic from the Philippines. A few days after the attack in Jakarta, it was announced by the Indonesian police that the terrorists had links with the extremist groups in the Philippines, specifically in Mindanao. Can you further expound on this? On this, basically the nature of the link, and what group in Mindanao has links with the terrorists that conducted the attack in Jakarta? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pak Luhut.
Well, yeah, we understand very much that like a weapon supply, we get it from Mindanao to Poso, through Poso, and Poso also to somewhere else. So that's why I think our cooperation is very important in the near future about this one. We like to see more and more data from or intelligence from Philippines. If you're asking about what name of the group, I will ask the chief police. To be honest to you, I don't know yet the name, but just I heard that he said that we get information that the radical from the Mindanao area also supporting this the activities of the radical group in Indonesia. And we understand, like mentioned earlier, that in Poso, I can tell you that they supply some weapons from Mindanao. And now we tighten the security in the border in order to minimize or to, give some difficulties for them to smuggling the weapons and also the high explosive from Mindanao.
Thank you very much. Next question, please. Ian Storey.
Thank you, Tim. Pak Luhut, if I could just, Ian Storey, Institute of Southeast Asian Studies, or IISS Yusof Ishak Institute as it is now. Pak Luhut, can I take you away from terrorism for a moment to the South China Sea? I think you said a few months ago that Indonesia was considering taking its dispute with China to the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea. Indonesia, of course, is not a direct claimant, but the 9-dashed line overlaps with the exclusive economic zone of the Natuna Islands. So could you tell us, is Indonesia actively considering legal arbitration to resolve that issue? Thank you.
So I think we don't have problem right now with the Chinese government. We discuss it with Chinese, and the Chinese, I think, acknowledge Natuna is a part of Indonesia. So 9-dash line, I think, is not the issue anymore with Indonesia. That's what we believe. And also, our position is very clear that we like to see this is, this is international passage, and we don't want to see any power projection in that area. So that's, I think, all about. So far, we are not claimants. So we don't see any problem with that, and we'll try also to be mediator, maybe that if we need to see the situation gonna be slowed down, calm down in that area, because we understand this is a very strategic location. If I'm not mistaken, like $5.1 trillion per year across this area. So this one have to be freedom of navigation is very important. That's, I think, the position of Indonesia.
Thank you. Mr. Keith Tan.
Pak Luhut, thank you very much for what I think is one of the strongest and clearest expositions of a complete counter-terrorism strategy from Indonesia. I think that's very powerful. In your speech, you mentioned the roles of Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah. I think many of our countries don't quite have organizations that are like these, like NU or Muhammadiyah, certainly not to the same scale and reach as these organizations. Would you be able to say a bit more about what these organizations can do in the counter-radicalization campaign in Indonesia, and what sorts of expectations you might have of these organizations?
You're talking beside the NU and Muhammadiyah?
No, what can NU and Muhammadiyah do?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at now the size of the NU, the member of the NU is like nearly 80 million. and Muhammadiyah, I think around 50 million. So nearly over half of the Indonesian population belong to these two organizations. So they can explain basically to the Islam community in Indonesia that ISIS is not Islam. Like I mentioned earlier also, Islam is not ISIS. They can refer to the Quran. They have, a lot of things that can, explain. The problem in Indonesia right now, some of the young ulama, they don't understand the history of Islam. They're just talking and they cut. So they try to, share with the young and poor people. So the young and poor people immediately can say, oh, this is the right one. So then now we are using, or we work together with the NU and Muhammadiyah to share the information to the public. So you will see soon more and more in our television, in our TV program, that the NU scholar or NU Kiai and Muhammadiyah scholar to explain about Islam. Islam is a harmony. Islam is bring peaceful and something like that. So we hope and we believe this could reduce the number of people who believe that ISIS is bring prosperity for them. And again, they're talking about Sharia. Right now, the implementation of Sharia in Indonesia is free. You can do your religion, implementation of your religion. This is protected by law. So we don't see that problem. But again, the socialization of this program have to be go down to the ground. So that's, I think, the program of the government of Indonesia. And we believe with with NU and Muhammadiyah and MUI, the Islamic organization, coordinating all the Islamic organization, could help us to socialize this program, especially de-radicalization. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. Major General Yao.
Thank you, team. A very specific question. First, I would like to thank you for a very comprehensive keynote address on your government's policies against terrorism. My question has to do with what kind of measures your government is taking to reduce the risks caused by transnational movement of foreign terrorist fighters. For example, it has been reported that in some cases, terrorist cases, that you find foreign citizens also fighting with terrorists in your country. So what kind of specific measures your government is taking to reduce this danger?
Now we're going to have a new law that we are allowed to revoke the citizenship of Indonesia if they join the foreign fighter. So I hope the implementation of this law anytime 2 months from now. So if you join, okay, you go there. You don't need to come back to Indonesia. And make it simple, So why should care about you? You care about you fight for other people or for other countries. You go there. So you want to see peaceful. That's, I think, the majority of people of Indonesia. We like to see harmony. We like to see peaceful. We like to see we enjoy our economy. We enjoy our harmony today. Why should fight? But we have to fight. We're going to fight. That's, I think, the bottom line. So we have to make it clear. Okay, you don't want to be part of the foreign fighters, stay in Indonesia. You're talking about Sharia? This is the Sharia. We provide everything. Democracy, we don't want to see like, how do you call it? Talking about the human rights issue, You kill so many people, if we kill some of you, who cares, We have to be firm. As long as, again, the benefit of the people of Indonesia. That's, I think, the bottom line. Thank you, ma'am.
Pak Luhut, thank you so much for answering those questions. Answering those questions so fully and authoritatively. And thank you very much again for delivering the keynote address. We greatly appreciated that. I think you've made some very important points. I'm sure we'll be discussing some of them over the next 1 or 2 days. Thank you very much again.
If I may say a few words, don't hesitate, come over to Indonesia. We can assure you, you'll be okay in Indonesia. A lot of tourist destination over there, don't worry. If any problem, you have problem also in IISS or also somewhere else. Thank you.